My MacBook charger cable broke recently. I think that must be quite a common thing to happen because of the relatively hard edge of that thing coming out of the charger wearing down the cable. I'm going to show you a messy but fairly effective way to get this back in working order. Chargers can be dangerous even when they're not plugged in, and it's best to leave them for a while before opening them to let any residual charge inside dissipate. And as an additional safety measure, I bridged the two lower terminals of the plug just to make sure that the capacitors inside are fully discharged. These things are glued together, and the best way to open them without totally damaging the case is to prise them apart using pliers like this. I didn't manage to open it totally because the top part of whatever that metal thing is glued to the top of the case. But the only thing you need access to is the cable joint, so you don't need to open this entirely. All I was doing here was using a multimeter set on resistance mode to check which wire joined to what past the joint. You can pretty much tell this by the colour of the wire, but I just confirmed that the white wire went to the white one on the circuit board, and the black wire goes to the multi-core bare wires on the outside of the cable. I carefully removed the outer insulation from the wire with a Stanley knife, peeled it back, and just tried to neatly gather the multi-core wires from the outside of the cable together, and then I stripped the end of the white wire and twisted the multi-core insides together. I stripped the ends of the two wires coming out from the charger as well, and then just twisted the multi-cores together. I'm going to use 3 pieces of heat shrink to insulate the various parts of the joint. I'm putting the longest piece on the wire before I even do anything else. I'm tinning the white wire coming out of the charger and then soldering that onto the white wire in the cable. It's quite heavy cable and it's going to be carrying a lot of current, so don't be afraid to use a lot of solder. Now I'm putting the heat shrink over there and then just shrinking it onto that huge blob of solder. And put the next bit of heat shrink onto the black wire, and I'm tinning that and then attaching that onto that gathered up multi-core stuff from the outside of the cable. These solder helping hands really came in useful. Just testing that joint's lost the heat from the solder, because that heat shrink can really shrink up before you even got it into position if the joint's still hot. Now those two joints are insulated, I'm going to slide the larger piece of heat shrink up and just try to gather them up together, make it as durable as possible. I had hoped to get that over those two joints entirely, but I just pushed it right up to them. This is just about making it safe and making it work, not making it look pretty. I'm fitting in the 2 flaps which came off when I opened up the charger, and carefully pushing the 2 halves back together again. This bit of tape was just to trap the end of the cable between the 2 halves. And as you'll see now, it charges my MacBook again. Now you may be worried about the aesthetics of this big black tape around there, but I do have a solution for that. I actually went to buy some white electrical tape instead, so from a distance it may look still like an unadulterated MacBook charger. I hope you found this video useful. I hope it saved you a few pounds. I hope it saved you an unnecessary trip to the Mac store. If you like this video, please do subscribe to my channel. I'll be looking at more electrical fixes, electrical mods, building electronics, and also laser cutting, CNC machining, lots of different electrical stuff.